Randy Moss has stepped in the building, and Randy Moss made a harsh statement regarding Tyreek Hill all-time great status. And it probably was unwarranted, in my opinion. And Randy Moss, arguably the #1 GOAT, doesn't believe Tyreek Hill is considered an all-time great as we speak right now. He's not talking about next year. He's not talking about the year after that. He's saying as we speak. But I do think Moss' comments are a little premature. Tyreek Hill is only going into his 10th season. 10 seasons is a lot. But for Tyreek Hill, he shows no signs of slowing down. So 10 seasons is just the beginning. He just ran a 10.15 in the 100-meter dash, preparing to race Olympian Noah Lyles. If y'all don't understand track and understand how fast that is, that can probably qualify for the Olympics. 10.15, no rigorous speed training. He just went out there and ran a 10.15.
It's crazy.
That is crazy. That is fast.
At the 10 seasons, it's definitely like what you said. No signs of slowing up. He still is like, you got to work to try to see him.
Not preparing for it. He may be prepared for it in 2 months' notice. You know what I mean? And with his speed, with Tyreek Hill's speed, he will always be an asset because, like you said, just running the 10.15 in his 10th season, he shows no signs of slowing down. So let's check it out. This is what Randy Moss had to say. He's nowhere all time, referring to Tyreek Hill. Moss told the outlet, "Where is he at today? ? Tyreek Hill is probably top 5. I put him top 5. That is what Randy Moss had to say about Tyreek Hill's status as an all-time great right now. How do we feel about these comments? Like I said, man, I think Moss was a little premature and a little harsh at the same time with his statement. But what I will say, some players start fast and others start slower. And Moss has to give players at least to the end of their season or the end of their career, before making a bold statement like he did regarding Tyreek Hill. Tyreek came to Miami and was able to maximize his production because Tua Tagovailoa need him. And Tyreek is a very key asset with that speed. Tua is at his best when he is throwing the ball to Tyreek Hill. We all seen that. Tyreek's first 3 seasons, he wasn't as dominant like Justin Jefferson because Patrick Mahomes spread the ball around to open receivers, unlike Tua Tagovailoa. Tua is looking strictly for Tyreek Hill every time. Every time he's looking for Tyreek Hill. That's the man he's looking for. But when you look at Justin Jefferson, who Moss thinks has a chance to be the #1 GOAT all time in the history of the game, right? He started his career playing at a very, very high level. I mean, very high level, with over 1,400 yards receiver in 4 out of his 5 first seasons, compared to Tyreek Hill's 600 yards in his rookie season. Tyreek took a little longer stat-wise to start producing at an all-pro level like Justin Jefferson did right off the bat. But Tyreek Hill showed us how dominant he can be once he arrived in Miami. And let's see what Moss had to say. This is Moss talking about Justin Jefferson. And I want to compare how he viewed these all-time great status between these 2 players, right? It says, Vikings legend Randy Moss is a big believer in Justin Jefferson. Moss even claimed that Jefferson is on pace to become the greatest wide receiver of all time. I think Justin Jefferson is on pace to be arguably the greatest ever and definitely the greatest Viking to ever do it, Moss told TMZ Sports on Saturday. Moss believes that Jefferson is a complete wide receiver who can win in any number of ways. I've always been a fan of a complete football player where you can score from anywhere on the field. This is what Moss is saying. And Justin brings that to the table, Moss said. Moss also added, let's hear this clearly. Moss also added that it is important for legendary players to score a lot of touchdowns. That is what Moss said. It is very important for legendary players to score a lot of touchdowns. Any thoughts? Any comments? What do you say? What do you think about what Randy Moss had to say about Tyreek Hill compared to what he had to say about Justin Jefferson? Chat,
So
y'all chime in, chat. Let me know how y'all feel.
The biggest difference is Justin Jefferson came in as the number one receiver. Like, they know he was going to be the difference makers. They know he's going to be the big target on the team. So like, they target him a lot. Tyreek Hill, on the other hand, had to kind of like earn his spot. So that first year was 600 yards. He was basically drafted as a punt returner and kick returner because he was fast. He had to earn his way more than Justin Jefferson, where Jefferson knew from the beginning he was the number one wide receiver. Like, he knew he was going to get the ball all the time. So Tyreek Hill, to earn his spot from basically like barely on the team, special teams player, to where he is now, you got to respect that. You got to respect that, because he worked hard to get to where he is right now, and that speed kills. They say that a lot. Speed kills. His speed's been killing, and Kansas City was like the introduction. And then he got to Miami, and it was like the proof is in the pudding. That speed really kills. And he could have got 2,000 yards that 1 year, but he missed some time. So he was like so close to get 2,000 yards. I think he was going to get it. He came up a little short, but he had a chance to get it if he played every game.
But like you said, man, you said something very important. And I'm an underdog guy. Tyreek Hill is very small compared to other receivers in the NFL. So he wasn't a first round number one starting draft pick on day one, like Justin Jefferson and a few other players. I forget what round draft pick Tyreek Hill was, but he had to grind and work his way to the top. And now he made his way to the top, and he's almost getting 2,000 yards, 1,700 yards receiving and things like that. But Randy Moss is definitely correct when it comes to Justin Jefferson may take over the number one GOAT spot with his production. That is correct. But there is only one problem no one wants to recognize or pay attention to when we talking about all-time greats. And y'all know I'm here to stand up for greatness. And the problem is giving credit to players that play in 17 games while older players had to do it during the 16-game era. We can't do that. We can't do that. You cannot compare records broken from the 16-game era and give that same amount of credit to players who did it in the 17-game era. It doesn't make no sense. I understand business need promotions, and you have to keep marketing and the media going. So they need things to bring to the attention. Yes, talk to me.
I got something for that, right?
Okay.
So with Saquon Barkley and what was it, Eric Dickerson got the record?
Yes.
He had like 100 less attempts. So let's talk about attempts as well.
Who had 100 less attempts?
Who got the record now? Was it Eric Dickerson who got the record right now for rushing yards in the season?
Yeah, I think it's Eric Dickerson.
He got like
Deshaun Alexander. I don't know. You got to look it up.
It's Eric Dickerson. Like, he was complaining about.
Let us know if we're wrong in the chat. It's Eric Dickerson.
Yeah. Listen, Eric Dickerson. He was complaining like at the game. He was like, Saquon Barkley got more games than me played, so like him breaking the record is not equal. But if you look at the attempts they had, like Saquon damn near got like 100 less attempts than he had. So I'm like, you got the ball more than Saquon, even though it was more games. So I mean, you got to pay attention to the numbers as well. Like you said before, like the overall numbers sometimes they're not about the games, it's about that. Like when that situation is the attempts.
That's a great point. That is absolutely a great point. Like you say, I respect that. If you played 17 games and Eric Dickerson played in 16 games, but Eric Dickerson had more attempts than you, that is a great point. Then 17 games and the 16 game doesn't matter. It's all fair games. But if that has to be evaluated. You know what I mean? That has to be evaluated. But that's why you see me making it be known and loud and proud that I was the last corner to intercept 50 passes during the 16-game era. Because if I don't, no one will. They don't want to give me my respect. They want to blackball Asante, because when you bring up my numbers, it makes everything look bad. So you will always see me loud and proud about my 50 interceptions in 10 seasons during a 16-game era, because that is
Man,
very monumental. And
it's,
they can never
they
take that away from me.
they not doing that in 17 games. So
You know what I mean?
yeah,
Yeah,
I
like
mean
you
that's a
said,
big deal.
17
That's
games. So if anyone comes
that's a
behind
big
me,
deal.
if anyone comes behind me with 50 interceptions, it's not the same. It has to
I
be an
don't know.
asterisk on that record because it's a 17-game season. And it's no disrespect. I'm not taking shots at anyone, but that is just the absolutely facts of what we're dealing with here. You know what I mean? And records being broke now are done just simply with more games being played than the older guys had a chance to. Our records and stats from the 16-game era are grandfathered in for life. No one can argue that. Say
In
what
my
needs to be said. We here
in
to
my
protect greatness, brother.
in my opinion too, man, they throwing 50 times a game. They wasn't throwing 50 times a game back then either.
That's true too. That's
They
absolutely true
throwing
too.
50 attempts is like normal now. Like what the hell?
Right,
Before
right,
it was run first, work off the run. Now it's like we going pass first and we going run it here and there. It's a big
right.
difference.
Hey, and like I said, you got to pay attention because I don't even think the human nature and we do so much talking and content, things like that. We don't remember what we say in the past. And I want to show you how Moss evaluates greatness and where he's getting a little off. You know what I mean? Because like I said, pay attention to where Moss said he think it is very important. What he said for legendary wide receivers to score a lot of touchdowns, right? So Moss is a little contradicting because Tyreek Hill has 80 touchdowns. Tyreek Hill has 80 touchdowns right now in 10 seasons. That's 40 more touchdowns than Justin Jefferson has. So where does that factor in? Where does touchdowns factor in from Moss' point of view? Tyreek Hill can still end up with more receiving yards than Justin Jefferson. But like I said, with Tyreek Hill's speed and talent, he will always be sought out after for a while. And I can see Justin Jefferson slowing down faster compared to Tyreek Hill slowing down, right? Justin Jefferson isn't that blazing receiver, but I can see Justin Jefferson slowing down a lot faster than Tyreek Hill. Justin Jefferson has 7,432 yards receiving so far in his career after 5 seasons. And Tyreek Hill has 11,098 yards receiving after 10 seasons. Now, Tyreek Hill also has, I think it was 80 touchdowns? 80 touchdowns or 82 touchdowns? And Justin Jefferson has 40 touchdowns. That is a big difference. How can he say Justin Jefferson is on his way to be the #1 GOAT, but in the meantime, you say it is important for these legendary wide receivers to score a lot of touchdowns, and Tyreek Hill has 2 times more touchdowns than Justin Jefferson, but you don't want to give him his credit. Tyreek Hill, what did you do to Randy Moss? Did you take a side piece or something? What happened? For him to come out and blasting you like that, you had to take his side piece or something. And when his days was over with, the side piece got tired of him and found you, Tyreek Hill. It didn't make no sense for Moss to come out. Moss may be upset that you able to do it with just off pure speed or something like that, because this isn't making no sense. You know, he could have withheld his statement for a while, you know, and didn't make the statement at the time. But Moss may have to change his tone in a couple of years if Tyreek Hill stay focused and don't start getting beside itself and attacking the coach and the quarterback and requesting trades and so on and so forth. Moss may have to retract his statement. What you gonna say?
No, I was gonna say I'm excited to see how their career ends and see who has the better career. But man, I don't think I heard you say he's gonna be like an all-time GOAT. I don't think he's the #1 receiver right now in the NFL. Justin Jefferson.
I mean, production wise, see, and yes, everybody can have opinion, and there's a difference when you're judging receivers and athletes. You have the most athletic talent and things like that. Then you have the most productive, the one whose production is is far past everyone else. That's what makes Jerry Rice the GOAT. No one can take that away from him. No, he wasn't the most talented, wasn't the most athletic, but he was absolutely the most productive wide receiver. So at the end of the day,
I
that's
just
what
saw
it boils
stats
down to.
him on the Seahawks at 42 years old. I was just watching highlights of him 42 years old on the
Look,
Seahawks.
looking horrible. God, dog, Moss was looking horrible with them braids, looking back, trying to stay a YN. Boy, Moss, I mean, the Jerry Rice, man, I was begging for him to give it up, bro. But man, sometimes that passion for football,
pat
man,
into the stats, man. Pat into the stats.
that, and then it's just a passion for football, and you've been
Yeah.
doing it your whole life. You don't know how to stop. You don't know what else is next ahead of you in life, and you know that's how it goes sometimes for us in football, man. But shout out to Randy Moss, shout out to Tyreek Hill, shout out to Justin Jefferson. But Randy Moss, you're a little harsh, man. I hope this is nothing personal right here that's going on with you coming out and attacking Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill is definitely a elite receiver because of his speed. Is he going to be an all-time great? He has a little more work to do. 80 touchdowns is a tremendous accomplishment, and I think he does need his just due from you, Randy Moss, because of that. Randy Moss, you said it's important that wide receivers score a lot of touchdowns. Right now, Justin Jefferson doesn't have a lot of touchdowns, so give Tyreek Hill his flowers. 80 touchdowns is a lot of touchdowns. All right, Randy Moss, salute. You know we go way back, some dog right there.